Short Podcast. The Hoka Short Podcast. The Hoka Short Podcast.
Hi there. Hello and welcome back to Hope Assured. I'm your host, Dr. Karla Hylton Dixon. I'm so happy you could join us today. Today we continue talking about my new book, When Someone You Love Wants to Die. And today we are actually going to explore chapter 7, which discusses your role. It is a heavy and torturous aspect of loving someone who struggles with depression or suicidal thoughts. It's that weight of responsibility that you feel for their well-being. Now, if you've ever felt that a missed call was evidence of your failure, that their bad day was proof you're not doing enough, that every mention of hopelessness sent you into a frantic scramble to find those perfect words, the magical solution that would finally save them, then this episode is for you. Because this chapter is about learning one of the hardest truths in mental health. You have a role to play in your loved one's healing, but you are not responsible for their recovery or their choices. The most persistent companion on this journey is often guilt. It whispers in your ear, if you were a better parent, a better spouse, a better sibling, this wouldn't be happening. You should have seen the signs. If they hurt themselves, it will be your fault. That's not true. This guilt that you carry is not only painful, it's counterproductive. And it often comes in three forms. First, there is the guilt of causation. You replay every argument, every moment you were impatient, every time you were busy. If I hadn't been so hard on her about grades, if I had been more supportive of his career. This guilt assumes that you have far more control over another person's mental health than you actually do. Depression is complex. It is a complex illness influenced by genetics, brain chemistry, trauma, and countless factors outside your control. Your impatience during one argument did not cause your loved one's depression. Then there is that guilt of inadequacy. This is the voice that's never satisfied. You see others recovering faster. You read about treatments you haven't tried, and it screams at you that you are not doing enough for your loved ones. But your loved one's pace of healing is not a performance review on your ability to give care. Thirdly, there's the guilt of boundaries. You feel selfish for going out with your friends and for having a good time, for planning a vacation. And this guilt tells you that good family members sacrifice everything. No, that's not true. Sacrificing your own well-being does not improve anyone else's mental health. When you're exhausted, resentful, and depleted, you have nothing genuine to offer. Your loved one can also sense your martyrdom, which often increases their guilt. So how do we release this guilt? This requires conscious effort. Challenge your thoughts. Challenge those thoughts of guilt with facts. When guilt says, I caused this, respond with, depression is a complex illness with multiple causes. You need to practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a dear friend in your situation. focus on the present. Guilt lives in past regrets. Bring attention back to what you can do today. Recognize that guilt often masks helplessness. It can feel easier to believe you caused something because that implies you have control. But you must face the reality that some things are simply beyond your influence. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood tools in the toolkit, boundaries. When someone you love is in pain, boundaries can feel cruel. How can you set limits when they need you? But boundaries are not walls that keep love out. They're the framework that makes sustainable love possible. Think of yourself as a marathon runner, not a sprinter. If you sprint at the beginning, if you sprint at the beginning, giving 24/7, you will collapse before you reach the finish line. So compassionate boundaries sound like this. I will call you every morning and evening to check in. If you are having thoughts of hurting yourself between our calls, I need you to call the crisis line or go to the ER. You could also say, I'm available for one deep conversation every day. You get to choose when it is, but I need to protect my energy so I can continue showing up for you. You could also say, I care about you deeply and I'm here to listen, but I can't carry all your pain alone. Now, these boundaries aren't rejection, they're a recognition that to love someone sustainably, you must also love yourself. They send a message. You are capable of healing, you are deserving of a full team of support. Team, it can't be one person. So ultimately, this journey isn't about understanding your limits, and this may be the most heartbreaking but essential lesson. You cannot love someone out of depression. Your love is vital. It provides connection and hope, but it cannot rebalance brain chemistry or cure mental illness. Depression is not a choice they are making because they don't feel loved enough. Remember, you cannot control outcomes. You can do everything right, you know. You can be supportive, set boundaries, encourage treatment, and your loved ones may still struggle. Their recovery is not a puzzle you can solve, it's just a process they have to go through. Understanding your limits is not defeat, it is liberation. When you stop trying to do the impossible, you free up your energy for what is actually within your power. Your power to offer consistent love, to encourage professional treatment, to model healthy coping, and of course, to take care of your own mental health. Now, your role is irreplaceable, but you are not their therapist or their savior. You are their family member. You provide the unconditional love that they can't find in any therapeutic relationship. You hold the hope when they cannot. You celebrate the small victories. Now, your authentic presence with all the human limitations is more valuable than any perfect caregiver persona you might try to maintain. So, to all of you out there who are carrying that weight of responsibility, it is time to gently set it down. You have a role to play. It is a role of love, of support, of walking alongside. But the burden of their recovery is not yours to carry. In accepting what you cannot do, you create space to do what only you can do. Love your person exactly as they are, exactly where they are, for as long as it takes. Thank you so much for listening to the Hope Assured podcast. I hope it helps someone today. Remember, hold on to hope. It is assured. And if this resonated with you, you can find more resources and the book linked below. Please hit subscribe if you like this podcast. And I look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you so much.